sure your mics are off. We're live right now.
ready to start whenever you are, Don.
Welcome to the West Covina Planning Commission meeting for Tuesday, August 22nd at 7:15. We will start with the Pledge of Allegiance led by Commissioner Heng, and then we'll please remain standing for a moment of silent prayer and meditation. Please stand. Thank you. Please be seated. Can we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Hing? Here. Commissioner Jimenez? Present. Commissioner Redholz?
Here.
Commissioner Castellanos? And Chairman Holtz.
Here. Do we have any changes or additions to the minutes of regular meeting August 8th? There's none. They stand approved. Takes us to oral communications. This is a time when any member of the public may speak to the Commission on any matter within the scope of duties excuse me, assigned to the Commission relating to non-agendized or consent calendar items. Other matters included on this agenda may be addressed when that item is under consideration. We ask you all to please fill out a card that are up here on the podium if you wish to speak. Brings us to oral communications. Anybody wish to speak on anything other than that's on the agenda, please come up. Nobody? Okay, we'll close oral communications. Takes us to consent calendar. All matters listed under the consent calendar are considered to be routine and can be acted on by one vote. There will be no discussion on these items unless members of the Planning Commission request specific items to be removed from the consent calendar for separate discussion or action. Takes us to item number 2, extension of time, precise plan number 14-03, variance number 14-23, zone change number 14-23. The applicant is Stephen Anderson, location 1388 East Garvey Avenue South. This is a request for a second one-year extension for the construction of a storage facility. Do we have any items from staff on this?
No, just to reiterate, it's a second one-year extension. It's a public storage facility that was approved about 2 years ago, and this would be their second one, and they're allowed a total of 3. So. Okay.
Does the applicant wish to speak? You're not here?
Yes, Stephen is here.
Do you wish to speak, sir?
Thank you.
Okay. Do we need to do a vote on this then?
Yes.
Question.
Question? Commissioner
Is this the lot where the air raid siren is? Is that where?
Yes, that's
that
correct.
One? Okay. That's what I thought.
Any questions to staff or the applicant? None? Then we take, I guess we can have a vote. We have a roll call, please.
Well, you need a motion.
Do we need a motion? I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a first and a second. We have a roll call, please.
Commissioner Hing?
Yes.
Commissioner Jimenez?
Yes.
Commissioner Redholz?
Aye.
Chairman Holtz?
Yes. Item passes 4-0. Takes us to public hearings. Conditional use permit number 16-16 through 16-24 and 17-08. Variance numbers 16-15 and 16-16. Administrative use permit number 1661 through 1672. Subcommittee for Design Review number 16-78 through 16-89. Tree removal permit number 17-07, categorical exemptions. Applicant is Jeff Tuck, South Hills Home Partnership. Location lots on Sunrise Road, Skyview Lane, Rolling Hills Road, and Mountain Ridge Road. The request is to build new single-family homes on 12 existing lots. Conditional use permits are required for the size of the houses. Variances are requested for minimum setbacks. Administrative use permits for 2-story homes, retaining walls and balconies over 200 square feet in size. Subcommittee for Design Review is needed for the architecture, Tree removal permit is for the removal of trees in the front setback. May we have a staff report, please?
Yes, Assistant Planner Veronica Hernandez will be presenting that report.
That's a new one. All right. So I am mostly going to be summarizing the changes that have been made. This was reviewed in June by the Planning Commission. I do have that original information available if anyone needs to refer to it, though. Again, the applicant, South Hills Home Partnership, is proposing to construct new single-family houses on 12 lots in the South Hills subdivision. 6 of the lots are located on Sunrise Road, lots 1 through 6. 5 of the lots are located to the west of lots 1 through 6 on Skyview Lane and Rolling Hills Road. That's lots 18, 25, 26, 27, and 38. And lot 32 is located to the south of those lots on Mountain Ridge Road. The Planning Commission reviewed the proposed houses on June 13th, 2017. The applicant had previously proposed several variances regarding building height, setbacks, and retaining walls over 8 feet in height. At the hearing, the Planning Commission expressed support for the architecture of the houses, but continued the item with the following direction to the applicant. Revise the plans to reduce or eliminate the number of front, side, and rear setbacks that do not meet minimum development standards. Revise the plans to reduce the building height to a maximum of 25 feet or to provide increased setbacks as allowed by the municipal code. Consider reducing the size of some of the units that do not comply with the recommended setbacks or the required setbacks, and to reduce the height of the proposed retaining walls in excess of 8 feet in height or to provide staggered retaining walls. The applicant revised the plans to reduce the number of variances required and is now requesting 2 variances for front yard setback requirements. The applicant also reduced the height of the homes to comply with the maximum 25-foot height limit and replaced some of the retaining walls with landscaped crib walls and staggered retaining walls which comply with development standards. The chart included in your staff report provides updated information on the application submitted for each address. The applicant is proposing a 22.03-foot first and second story setback on lot 18, that's 2831 Skyview Lane, where a 25-foot first story and 30-foot second story setback are required. The lot is a rectangular shaped lot with street frontage on 3 sides. Staff recommended that the applicant move the proposed house further to the north in order to provide a larger setback and reduce the size of the house in order to comply with the minimum setbacks. The applicant opted to continue the proposal and is therefore requesting a variance from front setback requirements. Staff is recommending that the applicant redesign the house to meet the minimum setback standards. The applicant is also proposing a 20.07-foot first and second story setback on lot 25. Although the lot is deep, a large portion of the lot to the rear is sloped with a steep incline. The house is positioned towards the front of the lot and adjacent to an existing cul-de-sac. Because the lot is on a cul-de-sac, the front yard is curvilinear so that the house is 20.07 feet at the closest point and approximately 80 feet at the farthest point to the front of the house. The house has an average setback of about 37 feet. Due to the topography, irregular shape, and the steep slope located at the rear of the lot, it is difficult to construct a house that is in compliance with the required 25-foot first-story front yard setback and 30-foot second-story front yard setback. Staff is therefore recommending approval of this variance. The applicant is also requesting AUPs to allow retaining walls over 4 feet and under 8 feet in height, and staggered landscape curb walls over 4 feet and under 15 feet in height. Landscape crib walls are a type of retaining wall comprised of a hollow rectangular crib work of logs, timbers, reinforced concrete beams, or steel beams. They typically allow landscaping to be installed within and around the walls. Because of the topography and the desire to create level building pads, many of the lots include some type of retaining wall. The lots have been rough graded to create pads for the houses. Retaining walls up to 4 feet in height are allowed by right. Administrative use permits are required for retaining walls between 4 feet and 8 feet in height, and for landscape crib walls between 4 feet and 15 feet in height. AUPs for retaining walls are required on 7 of the lots. The chart included in your staff report, as well as on the previous screen, details information on the lots where the AUPs are proposed. The applicant did reduce the height of all retaining walls to be within the maximum established by the code and replaced some of the proposed retaining walls with staggered retaining walls and staggered landscape crib walls. So here's a detail of the lots that are proposing these staggered landscape crib walls. That's lots 27, 25, and 4. The applicant is also requesting the approval of one tree removal permit for Lot 3 on Sunrise Road. A total of 3 redwood trees will be removed from the lot. These trees are significant in that they are located within the 25-foot front yard setback area and have a caliper of 1 foot or greater. The applicant is proposing to remove a total of 56 trees from the 12 properties. Of these, the 3 redwoods described above are the only significant trees. The applicant will be required to submit a landscape planting and irrigation plan as part of the conditions of approval. Staff initially reviewed the proposed houses and recommended that the applicant reduce the size of the proposed houses in order to fit in with the context of the neighboring properties, as well as to meet maximum building height and minimum setback requirements. Staff also recommended retaining walls be reduced in height or staggered. The Planning Commission also reviewed the houses on June 13, 2017, and recommended that the applicant redesign the houses with the above-mentioned considerations in mind. The applicant did revise the plans to reduce the number of variances required and is now requesting 2 variances for front yard setback requirements. The applicant reduced the height of the homes to comply with the maximum 25-foot height limit and replaced some of the retaining walls with landscape curb walls which meet development standards. The required findings have been made and are included in your staff report. Based on the changes that the applicant made, staff is recommending approval of all the entitlements with the exception of variance number 16-15 for Lot 18. That concludes staff's presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions, and the applicant is also present if there are any questions.
Are there any questions of staff? From the commissioners? None? Would the applicant like to come forward? Mr. Tuck, I have a card here from you.
I'm Jeff Tuck. Homes Partnership. Since we were last all together, we have taken into account some of the concerns of the commission, have reduced the height of 10 of the houses, proposed houses, to 25 feet. 2 of them, because the side yards and rear yards are so large, they fall into the category of the 1-to-1 increase in height limit, so they are in compliance. Lots 32 and 38 are the ones that exceed the height limit but are in compliance. We were down to, we've reduced the request for variances by redesigning all the retaining walls, so we're down to 2 variances before you tonight. As said, one is a lot on lot 25 on a cul-de-sac because of the unique shape of the cul-de-sac being right at the end of it. We're asking for variance on that front yard setback. Lot 18, we're asking for a variance. It's only a variance on the 2nd story setback that we're asking for. The 1st story setback is the required 25 feet. It is a straight up configuration, so the 2nd story setback would be 25 feet. I disagree with the staff's report saying it's a 22-foot setback. That's being taken to a decorative balcony, which I believe by building code can project into the setback as long as it doesn't hit the ground, doesn't touch the ground. The only other thing that I saw in the staff report was the trees that were mentioned, the 3 significant trees on lot 3. Those are redwoods. They are in the setback, the front yard setback, but that house has been unoccupied for some period of time, and those trees are completely dead. They have to be removed. There's no hope of them recovering, and due to the drought and the lack of water, since no one has been in that house, they have died. And that's basically it. So any questions for us? I'm glad to answer.
Any questions of Mr. Tuck? None? Okay, thank you, sir. Does anyone else want to speak in favor of the project? Does anyone want to speak in opposition of the project? Okay. Okay, I'll close it to public testimony and open it to commission discussion. Who'd like to start?
Well, I have a question for staff. Can you address Mr. Tuck's assertion regarding the second-story setback?
Yes, Commissioner Redholz. Based on the development standards in the municipal code, the balcony must comply with the 30-foot second-story setback requirement. As it reads on the site plan, it's 22 feet 3 inches from the property line to the edge of the decorative balcony.
And just to add to that a little bit, I believe one of the purposes for the second-story setback is to set the second story back away from the first story. And while the building code may allow certain things, the zoning code has different standards. And the zoning code standards are for a 30-foot to the face of the building. It does allow some projections, but generally those projections are only 2 to 3 feet, like eaves and fireplaces and those kind of things. So balconies are included as part of the setback.
Basically, you stand by your recommendation at this?
Yes, yes.
Anyone else? Commissioner Jimenez?
And just to confirm, the recommendation this evening does include disapproval of the variance on Lot 18, meaning then that the project is approved but has to comply with the setback requirements if we were to take action this evening?
Correct. So Lot 18 is Lot 18, well, maybe I could have Ron answer that. Why don't you express what the variance for Lot 18 is for us?
So the request, the variance request for Lot 18 is for the second-story setback, that variance. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, it's already on.
So it's this one here, it's maybe a little hard, oh, she's got it blown up here. So this is it here. This line here is the 25-foot setback. So that's the 25-foot setback. That's where the first story is supposed to be at. The 5 foot further is where the second story is supposed to be at. The balcony is actually projecting into the front yard setback in this, I'm sorry, the first story setback, although it's not, it isn't first story. So it's a projection of the second story into the second story setback.
So your recommendation in the affirmative for this particular request would allow the envelope to, or it would require for the envelope to conform to the current code, correct?
That's correct.
So we're not disapproving the structure per se. It's just, we're recommending on the envelope for the
That
second
is correct.
story.
Our recommendation has been to the applicant to redesign to comply.
Okay, just
Yeah.
wanted to confirm. Thank you. That's it.
Anyone else? One of the things that concerns me a little bit, and I'd like to bring it up before the commissioners, is on the balconies. We are requiring like 200 square feet, and we fudge on that a little bit, but on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these houses, they're like 600 square feet. That's triple the size of what we're talking about. I don't know if that concerns anybody else, but that's an awful lot over the 200 square feet that we normally require.
Well, perhaps I should chime in a little bit on there, although I know you're not asking me the question, but just to make sure we understand, that 200 square feet, sort of like the maximum unit size, is a threshold. It's not meant to say you can't go higher than that. It's not a variance. It's just a threshold to say if it's over this size, then you need an administrative use permit. So it's a threshold, not an upper ceiling limit. So anyway,
Understand that, but it just, when I'm looking at from 200 and then going over to 600, and the others are like 400, which I really don't have a problem with, but the 600 just seems awfully big to me. I don't know how the rest of you feel. Nobody else? I'm okay with it. Okay. All right. The rest of you okay with it? All right.
I think it's just trying to balance out the mass of these structures. It almost, then the math would seem to indicate if it's a large structure, it could potentially support the number of balconies that are being proposed respectively. I would look to staff maybe to validate that. Okay.
Anybody else? Comments? Okay, we'll close it to commission discussion, and we'll ask for staff to read the resolution numbers. Do we have a motion?
I will go on ahead and motion to approve, clearly indicating the disapproval of the variance for the lot number 18.
Well, I have a question on the motion. Are you backing the denial of the variance? Or
That is
the-
correct, yeah, just affirming staff's recommendation and
To
make sure it's
deny
on the
that
record.
variance and approve the other variance?
Correct, the ones that are as
There's
recommended
only
by
one other
staff.
variance.
Okay.
But yes.
So you're basically making a motion to approve what staff has recommended? Okay, I'll second that.
So are we talking
Microphone.
about approving? Is it on? It's on. I guess without the variance, are we saying that out of 12, 11 houses will be approved except one? Is that what we're doing?
So
Jeff?
so there is 12 lots. So the motion is to approve 11, but not the 12th.
Lot number 18, approve all except lot number 18.
And then I think if, before you take a vote, I think that it's opportune to ask the applicant if the applicant is willing to go back and redesign that, which means you just continue that one house. You can approve the other 11. They stand apart. It's not a tract map. These are each individually. We're just doing them together concurrently. So you can approve the 11 and ask if he would like to go back and redesign, come back with something that complies with the code, or if he'd rather take a denial. Before you, we have, just to take a second on the staff report, the last page of the staff report, which is page 19 and 20, there's a whole list of resolutions. There's something like 20 resolutions that we have in front of you tonight. We separated these out to try to make it helpful. That the resolutions for approval are all first. In attachment 22 is the resolution for denial that you would act upon if the applicant did not wish to redesign. So that's what that is. I just wanted to make that clear before we go any further.
So I have one
Go ahead,
question
Commissioner Riddle.
for staff. So the remedy for 18 is what? To reduce the,
The remedy
Versus-
would,
go ahead.
Commissioner Holtz, the remedy would be just to simply, just to reduce the size to comply with the 30-foot front yard setback requirement.
So you take off eight
But the
feet
size
or
of the
s-
house?
Yeah,
What
so,
about-
can you go back to that? What do I do with my? So it's kind of small here, but this is the setback. So it's kind of a U-shaped house. I don't know that this is going to be close, so they may not even have to reduce here, but it's just this side, so they'd have to reduce about 8 to 10 feet off the front of that portion of the house.
So one side of the house is fine, but the other side, due to the lot shape, wouldn't it look funny? I mean, if you reduce one, I mean, it seems like if you're saying one side of the house is fine in terms of the top portion, and then the other side, we need to reduce it to
And-
make it work.
And this is, the commission needs to discuss this. This is not a question for staff that you're asking. But I would say this, that in this case, we don't think it's the lot shape. We think it's the size of the house. Because there's many houses that you could design to fit on this lot very readily. So that's the question, but that'd be a question to your fellow commissioners, that what you're asking.
I'd like to ask Mr. Tuck to come forward to see if he's willing to work with us on this.
I think the intention tonight was, last time we were before you, there were no resolution. The intention tonight is to deny the variance for application for Lot 18, then I think we have to take a look to see whether redesigning the house or other options are available to us. So we would like you to act on all the others. And if you're going to deny the variance for Lot 18, then that'd be a denial tonight.
So to be clear, you're willing to let us go ahead with the other 11 lots and then work with the staff on a denial on the lot number 18?
We want you to deny the variance for Lot 18.
You want us to deny that, okay,
That way, we have options.
okay, thank you. Commissioner Hang, do you want to say something? Commissioners? Commissioner
Well, I
Reynolds?
just want to clarify, that since I seconded the motion, I want to clarify with the maker of the motion that your motion is to go with staff's recommendation. The applicant has just indicated he wants an up or down on the motion, correct? So then he would just go from there. So that's what your motion is, isn't it? Okay.
So we have a first and a second. Can we have a roll call, please? On
Give me 1 second to do some math. It's going to be 99. So what you have before you the motion is to approve is basically attachments 1 through 21, which are a combination of conditional use permits, 1 variance, and administrative use permits. And those would be resolution number 17-5878 through resolution 17-5899. So that is the approvals. The denial then would be 17-5900. And that would be attachment 22.
The motion and a second is to approve 17-5878 through 5899 and deny 17-5990. Is that correct?
5900.
5900.
That's correct.
Okay. We have a roll call, please.
I'll start from the right. Commissioner Redholz?
Aye.
Commissioner Jimenez?
Yes.
Commissioner Hing? Yes. Chairman Holtz?
Yes, passes 4-0. These actions are final unless appealed to the City Council within 10 days. Precise plan number 17-03, variance number 17-03, conditional use permit number 17-13, administrative use permit number 17-19, categorical exemption, applicant Jeff Tuck, Bentley Real Estate, location 2539 East Garvey Avenue North, former Mazda dealership site. The request for the expansion and remodeling of an existing showroom building and modification of the site layout. A precise plan is requested for the expansion and remodeling of the existing showroom building, site plan and architecture review, and a variance to deviate from the required landscaping coverage. May we have a staff report, please?
Yes, you may. Okay. So as was just stated, we have a precise plan and a variance. This is submitted for a property at 2539 East Garvey Avenue North, which is the former Mazda site. The proposal is a precise plan to expand and remodel the showroom building on that former Mazda site and to modify the site layout. Also, a variance to deviate from required landscape coverage. So this is the site plan. You can see the location. We have the freeway to the south and Citrus to the east, Eastland across the street here, Nissan dealership to the north, single-family houses in this vicinity with a former small auto dealership, a Lotus dealership here. I think before that it was a paint store, a commercial building there. This is the proposed site plan, which is very similar to the layout of the building and everything now. Proposing minor site layout changes. 3 separate additions are proposed to the showroom. One in this vicinity. You'll see there, if you can see that far, you can see there's a little bit of writing here in these locations. So there's one here on the east side, there's one on the south side, and there's one up here in the northwest segment. Those 3 separate additions add cumulatively to add 2,037 square feet to the showroom building. The completed showroom building would be 9,700 square feet. Other improvements include painting the service buildings, repaving the parking lot, redesigning the parking layout, and increasing the amount of landscaping over what's there currently. The proposed auto dealership requires 22 customer parking spaces, 8 service parking spaces, and 17 employee parking spaces. The proposal provides the required number of customer parking spaces and excess of the required number of service and employee parking spaces. A condition of approval is included that the customer and employee parking spaces be indicated with signage and with pavement markings. This is the proposed elevations for the showroom. Again, building additions are on the east, west, and south elevation. The addition to the showroom will change the architecture of the structure. The proposed showroom is composed of a glass exterior wall on the front portion of the building, as you can see here, and then a stucco area on the rear portion of the building. The front elevation of the building would feature a walkway, which is here, elevated above the surface ground, with stacked stone base, glass building facade, and 2 metal awnings. The building is proposed at 25 feet in height, which is consistent with the existing building height. This is the material board that is proposed. They're proposing tinted and non-tinted glass. This is a stacked stone. This is a 2 glass. This is a stucco. So it gives you some idea of the materials proposed. This slide shows the floor plan, which indicates of the showroom. This is the showroom itself, the showroom building, I should say, which indicates showroom, offices, and a parts department. The applicant is proposing a variance to deviate from landscape standards. The site currently has 3% of the site landscaped, which is approximately 4,000 square feet. When I say landscaped, it has 4,000 square foot of landscape area. I don't think there's much landscaping there right now. The proposal is to increase to 6,998 square feet, about 7,000 square feet of landscaping, which is 5.3% of the site. The code requires 8% of the site to be landscaped, so they are substandard by about 3,500 feet. So this shows the site plan. You'll see that the landscaping has been placed in the front along the streets, and then up against the buildings around here, and also an area here that provides a buffer between the auto dealer and the single-family houses to the west. That's the primary places where landscaping is proposed. The site has been used as an auto dealership for several decades, and it appears that it was in conformance with the landscape requirements when it was constructed. The proposal does include increasing the amount of landscaping from approximately 3%, which it is today, to about 5.3%. Landscaping has been added between the buildings and the street and along the westerly property line adjacent to residential uses and the neighboring auto dealership. Automobile sales are unique retail commercial use in that they generally, most of their products for sale are stored outdoors on pavement, need to be visible from adjacent streets. So that staff is recommending approval, and that concludes staff's report. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions of staff? Commissioner Jimenez?
Jeff, I take it this is for either, is it for a new dealership or an existing dealership that's expanding in the area?
The applicant hasn't informed us about who might occupy the site. They are, as I understand, and they can answer this probably better than I can, but as I understand, they want to rehab the site, which may make it more attractive for someone to go into.
Okay.
Anyone else? Okay. We'll close the staff report and open up to public testimony. I have a card from Mr. Tuck again. Would you like to come forward, please?
Back again. So I'm Jeff Tuck, representing Bentley Real Estate, owners of the property. The dealership building there has been vacant for a number of years. It's been vandalized, windows broken, graffiti, become a hangout for homeless people. In talking to potential tenants, it's been very difficult to try to convince someone to take the site in the condition that it's in. So most of these franchise holders are just not willing to take on a construction project of this size. And we've listened to their complaints about what would have to be done for them to do it, and we've tried to incorporate this into our design. Unfortunately, in response to your question, I'm kind of bound by a non-disclosure agreement about any discussions we've had with any franchises. In order to entice the tenant into the space, the biggest thing is to increase the size of the showroom. There's just not enough space to store cars inside there. So the majority of the remodel that takes place in the showroom itself to add more space for display and more space for sales offices. But in the process, we have to make the building ADA compliant, comply with all new codes. That affects restrooms on the inside, which are way out of compliance, original to the 1962, 64 building. And then the site itself has to be compliant with ADA requirements in terms of parking and access and such. As the staff reported, we are increasing the amount of landscaping on the site, and we're trying to keep a 10-foot landscape setback, heavily treed between us and the residential in that back left corner. Otherwise, we'll be resealing, restriping the parking lot as part of the process, upgrading it, and upgrade the landscaping and non-existent irrigation right now. So we ask for your approval.
Just for point of clarification, you're not planning on doing anything with where the Lotus dealership is right now? That's not part of this project?
We have nothing to do with it. We've tried many times to see if that property could be acquired. We've been told it's a real estate investment trust that owns it, and they couldn't care less about selling it. Just it's too difficult for them to divest one piece of property from their investments.
Okay. And are you still planning on using it for car storage until it's leased out, or somebody comes in there?
Sure, until the work commences, yes.
Okay, thank you. Any questions of Mr. Tuck, Mr. Redholz?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Seems like in today's standards, the auto manufacturers have a particular look that they strive for their dealerships. You know, sometimes they even force older dealers to upgrade to be in compliance with the look they want. So my question to you is, without, obviously you can't disclose a potential operator there, but have you consulted with that potential dealer with the design, or are you just doing a design and throwing it out there?
There was a specific
Anyone else?
That was my question.
That was your question? Thank you, Mr. Tuck. Does anyone else want to speak in favor of the project? Does anyone want to speak against the project? If not, I'll close it to public hearing and open it up to commission discussion. Mr. Commissioner Redholz.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Well, I think Mr. Tuck will be happier with my response to this project than the last one. I'm very happy to see this come forward. You know, that particular location has been in a rather negative condition for quite a long time, and I think that I have no problem with the variance. I'll say that up front. I have no problem approving that, and I like the design that's in front of us. You know, I hope that when it does commence, that we're able to bring in, or you're able to bring in a dealer that's going to take it over and be successful. That is a prime location, and it's in a, you know, fantastic spot, and I like it, and I have no problem going forward with it tonight.
Thank you. Anyone else? Mr. Hain? No, nothing? Okay. Yeah, I'm much in favor of the project, too. It's been an eyesore for quite a long time, and it's, like you say, it is a prime location. You would think somebody would want to jump on it once it's cleaned up, so I'm much in favor of the project. So we'll close it to public testimony and commission discussion. Do we have a motion to approve?
We need the,
We need the resolution number.
For the precise plan is 17-5901, and for the variance is 17-5902.
I'll make the motion to approve.
Both items?
Both, yes.
Both items. I have a first. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Jimenez. We have roll call, please.
Commissioner Redholz?
Aye.
Commissioner Jimenez?
Yes.
Commissioner Hing? Yes. Chairman Holtz?
Yes, passes 4-0. These actions are final unless appealed to the City Council within 10 days. Thank you, Mr. Tuck. Okay. Brings us to conditional use permit number 1713, administrative use permit number 1719, subcommittee for design review number 1734, categorical exemption, applicant Ken and Christy Tan, location 1203 Inspiration Point. The request for a conditional use permit and an administrative use permit to construct a 346 square foot first-story addition, a total of 934 square feet to the second story, and 117 square foot balcony to the rear of an existing single-family residence. May we please hear a staff report?
Planning Assistant Christine Delastrinos will be presenting that report.
Yes.
Thank you.
Good evening, Chairman and Commissioners. Today I will be presenting to you conditional use permits 17-13, administrative use permit 17-19, and subcommittee design review 17-34. So the applicant is requesting a conditional use permit and an administrative use permit for lots with an area between the areas of 20,000 square feet and 24,999 square feet. The maximum allowable unit size is 4,000 square feet or 35% of the lot area, whichever is less. The subject property is 22,480 square feet. Therefore, the maximum allowable unit size for the property is 4,000 square feet. An administrative use permit is required for a maximum unit size exception, which is a MUSE, when the proposed addition exceeds the maximum allowable unit size. Furthermore, a conditional use permit is required for a large home when the proposed addition exceeds the maximum allowable unit size by more than 25%. 5,620 square feet in this case. Additionally, an administrative use permit is required for a two-story addition. The proposed home would have a total floor area of 6,379 square feet and requires the CUP for the large home. An AUP is required for the 934 square foot second-story addition and exceeding the maximum unit size by 759 square feet. Findings were made for the CUP, AUP, and the subcommittee design review, which can be found before you in the staff report. The existing house was built in 2016 as part of the Taylor Morrison development. The house currently has 6 bedrooms and 6 bathrooms and will remain with the proposed additions. The first-story dining room, living room, and a 3-car garage is what is existing. The second story includes a master bedroom with an exclusive bathroom and walk-in closets, 3 bedrooms with exclusive bathrooms, a media room, a laundry room, and a loft. The proposed additions will extend the first-story master bedroom and the second-story master bedroom and will add a media room on the second floor. Both additions will have exclusive entrances to the backyard and second-story balcony of 117 square feet. The city municipal's code requires a 3-car garage based on the number of bedrooms, where the home currently features an existing tandem 3-car garage of 616 square feet. The home is currently zoned as single-family residential and as in Area District 5. It's located in a neighborhood that's primarily 2-story homes in a hillside topography. and they're all from the Taylor Morrison development project. So this is basically showing you the existing versus the proposed. The existing floor area ratio is 20%, whereas the proposed will be 28%. The lot coverage is 13%, and the proposed will be 15%. Here is the site plan of the existing house. You will see that majority of the additions will be at the rear of the home as well as in the side of the home. This is the existing first-story floor plan. And you see that this doesn't work up. This is going to be the first-story master bedroom that they're extending, which is seen right here. So it basically has a master bedroom retreat, and then an opening to the patio area. This is the existing second floor. This is where the media room will be placed, and then this will be basically arranged to have the second-story master bedroom. And here is the new floor plan where the media room will be located right here, and the master bedroom with the master bedroom retreat and a second-story balcony. This is the north elevation, which you could see the additions right here. And then the south elevation with the media room and the second-story addition and the first-story addition. And this would be looking from the rear yard. Staff reviewed the neighborhood surrounding the subject property, finding that the area consists primarily of two-story single-family houses that were constructed in more recent times from 2014 to the present. Staff conducted a survey of 17 homes surrounding the subject property. The houses in the survey are located on the East Hillside Drive, Bentley Court, and Inspiration Point. The surveyed homes consisted of two-story houses with 3-car garages. The following chart shows the mean and median lot size, square footage of the homes, number of bedrooms, and floor area ratio of the surveyed homes. The mean is the average of all 17 homes, and the median is the number that falls directly in the middle if listed in numerical order. The median size of the homes is 4,403 square feet. The house sizes range from 4,019 square feet to 5,719 square feet. The lot sizes of the surveyed homes range from 18,669 square feet to 23,843 square feet, while the lot size of the subject property is 22,480 square feet. Floor area ratios range from 19% to 29%. The proposed floor area ratio of the subject property is 28%. The house, as proposed, would be 1.3 times larger than the average size of the surrounding surveyed homes of 4,950 square feet. Although the proposed house would be 1.3 times larger than the average size of the house would be 1.1 times larger than the largest house size of the surveyed homes of 5,719 square feet. The proposal includes a 346 square foot first floor addition, a 934 square foot second floor addition, and a 117 square foot balcony to the rear of the existing residence, facing the north side of the property. The house with the proposed additions will be 6,379 square feet, including the 616 square foot garage. The surrounding neighborhood consists of two-story homes. The proposed size of the home is 1.3 times larger than the average size of the surrounding homes of 4,950 square feet, as well as 1.1 times larger than the largest house size of the surveyed homes of 5,719 square feet. The proposed addition will change the mass of the building. The proposed addition does not provide articulation along the south elevation, and staff recommends approval of the proposed additions to incorporate the following details on the south elevation. Decorative window treatment to match the existing windows throughout the home, decorative wood and stucco overformed corbels to match the existing elevation, and eaves that incorporate wood rafter tails to match the existing architecture. The above-mentioned detailing will allow movement and articulation on the south elevation without the requirement of the setback from the second story. The applicant is requesting a conditional use permit for the house size, an administrative use permit for the two-story house, and maximum unit size. Staff recommends the approval of the following applications. And if you have any questions, I am more than happy to answer, and the applicant is present.
Did we get any communications from the neighbors in this area about this issue?
No, we didn't receive any phone calls or messages in regards to the addition.
Thank you. Is the applicant here, wish to speak? Please come up. State your name and please fill out a card before you leave.
Good evening, thank you. Ken Parsons, architect, Diamond Bar, California. Although the plans say Irvine, it's Diamond Bar now. It's a pretty straightforward addition, I believe. It's, we're dealing with a situation where it's a newer home, larger home. These homes, when they were designed, by the developer, generally were designed to more or less fill up most of the available building area. We have a unique situation on this particular lot where we have a fairly large lot. It's a bit larger than most of the other ones in the tract. And also, where we're proposing the additions, we're not up against other homes. The other homes are generally lower and to some distance away from where our project is going to be. And we've kept the design in keeping with the existing rather, chunky, blocky design that's characteristic of this home plus the other homes in this tract. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Any questions of the applicant?
I just have,
Commissioner Reynolds?
yeah, you're fine with those conditions as far as what staff just enumerated, the bullet points?
Yes, we are.
Okay, it's all good? Okay.
Anyone else? Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Does anyone else want to speak in favor of the project? Does anyone want to speak against the project? If not, I'll close it to public testimony and open up to commission discussion.
I'm just ready for the resolution number.
You don't want to speak on it? Okay. No? Can we have the resolution numbers, please?
Sure. Resolution 4, the conditional use permit would be 17-5902, and the resolution for the administrative use permit would be 17-5903.
Okay. Do we have a motion on 17-5902 and 17-5903?
I'll move to approve.
Do you have a second? Don't, Commissioner Manis?
Second.
Has a second. Okay. We have roll call, please.
Commissioner Hing? Yes. Commissioner Jimenez?
Yes.
Commissioner Redholz?
Aye.
Chairman Holtz?
Aye, passes 4-0. Action is final unless appealed to City Council within 10 days. Good luck. Thank you. Brings us to item 6. This is variance number 17-04, categorical exemption. Applicant is John Begin for JB Construction. Location 2223 San Bernardino Road, Tow Industries. The request to deviate from the developmental standards for landscape coverage. May we hear a staff report, please?
Christine Delastrinos will be presenting this report as well.
Hello, I am back. All right, so I will be presenting to you variance number 17-04 for 2223 San Bernardino Row, which is also known as Tow Industries. The applicant is requesting for a variance to deviate from the landscape requirement of 8% provided by the municipal code. The variance is categorically exempt as the project consists of a minor revision to an existing facility. The subject property is located on the north portion of the city, south of City of Irwindale and east of the City of Baldwin Park. The subject property is zoned as industrial and manufacturing, which is an M1 zone, and the subject property was improved in 1952 and has been used for manufacturing uses since then. The proposed is part of the site modifications to facilitate a manufacturing business called Tow Industries. Tow Industries is a distributor of a new and used recovery trucks and towing equipment. They provide equipment services and specialists for the heavy-duty vehicles and equipment. Earlier in 2017, the applicant worked with the city to revise the building and site layout for the tow industry operation. On March 15, 2017, Planning Director's Modification Number 17-04 was approved to modify the site in order to facilitate tow industries. These modifications primarily focused on the parking areas of the property. Building permits were issued on March 21, 2017. As construction progressed, the applicant decided to make improvements to the exterior of the building and submitted Planning Director's Modification 17-31, which was approved on June 28, 2017. A building permit for the modification for the exterior of the building was obtained on July 20, 2017. The approvals required a landscape plan review for the entire site, including the rear yard area in the north portion and the submittal of a plan to comply with stormwater/urban runoff pollution control. The subject property is 117,612 square feet, which is about almost 3 acres, 2.71, in size, with an existing 43,400 square foot building. The existing landscaping on the property is 14,635 square feet. The front portion, south of the site, will be used primarily for vehicle display and for customer and employee parking. The approval of the Planning Director's Modification Number 17-04 allowed for the site to have an 8-foot tall wrought iron fence along San Bernardino Road. The applicant is requesting the approval of a variance to reduce the landscape requirement. Previous to this issuance of building permits, landscaping included a large lawn area at the front of the lot and landscape areas along the front of the building. In addition, the lot included areas that were landscaped but did not have any plant materials, including the narrow strip along the westerly property line and a large area at the back of the property, which is where a majority of the landscaping will be reduced. So here basically is the existing site plan of the property. You could see that there is technically, or there was, landscaping along the westerly portion as well as the front portion, and they had this back area where there is a cell site, I believe, and that was open for landscaping opportunities. The applicant is requesting a variance from landscape coverage. The municipal code requires that a minimum of 8% of the property be landscaped. The previous landscaping of the property is estimated at 14,635 square feet, or about 12% of the property. The applicant is requesting 3,504 square feet of landscaping, which is about 3%. The proposed completion of the site includes smaller landscape planters located at the parking area in the front of the subject property and on the west perimeter. The chart below provides information on previous proposed and required landscaping on the subject property. At the time that the Planning Director's modifications number 17-04 was approved, the applicant proposed to replace the lawn area at the front of the lot with paving and additional landscaping at the side and rear of the property to comply with the 8% landscape requirement. During construction, the applicant was determined to apply for a variance to eliminate the landscaping at the rear of the property due to limited visibility and desire to maximize the parking and storage of vehicles. Therefore, the applicant is requesting the variance. So that would be the area which they would be removing that landscaping opportunity, I guess you could say. The subject property has been utilized for manufacturing since 1952. The proposal is to tailor the property for a new business called Tow Industries. The proposal would maximize the areas available for parking and storage. The proposed landscaping is located between the building and the street and is visible from off-site. The applicant is therefore requesting to deviate from the municipal code requirement of landscaping from 8% to 3%. Staff recommends that the Planning Commission adopt resolution approving variance number 17-04. If you have any questions, I am more than happy to answer, and the applicant is here representing Tow Industries. Thank you.
Were we required to notify any of the adjacent occupants about this?
Yes, we did notify the homeowners and occupants within the 300-foot radius from the property, and we didn't receive any calls.
Thank you. Would the applicant like to come forward, please? You have questions? I'm sorry. Excuse me just a minute.
Christine, did we receive a site plan with a proposal?
site plan with the proposal of,
with our packet. I didn't see
there should be a site plan with you guys. Did you guys, not everyone receive one? No, because I,
Well, tell you what, maybe we can go back to the image. I just want to confirm that I'm understanding this correctly. So I believe what I'm looking at here, so this is East Ramona on the back, right? Okay, so that's.
East
Right.
Ramona, or which,
sorry,
the city of West Covina, it's actually San Bernardino Road. Ramona is where Baldwin Park
Right.
starts.
Okay. So let's jump, okay, so in that image right there, up at the front along Ramona, today, or as I see it at least on the aerial, that's all landscape right now, correct?
This, right now, existing, this is all paved.
Okay.
This is where the tow trucks and the heavy vehicles will be parked. So there will be no landscaping along that front area.
So Christine, in her staff report, covered that there's been some previous planning director's
Right.
modifications approved. One of them was to do what you're describing, to take
Okay.
out that landscape area and pave it.
So that action is not before us then?
Correct, it's already been approved. That was
Yes.
some time back, maybe February, March.
And so to confirm, these parking spaces now, they're for large vehicles or bobtails?
Yes, so this front portion will be for the large vehicles, and then this front portion will be for the customers and the employees, I believe.
Okay.
Basically, what is before us is the reduction of this area. They don't plan, or they are not proposing to landscape this area.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Staff? No? Would the applicant like to come forward, please? And please fill out a card before you leave.
John Begin, I'm the contractor on the project and representing the owner, Tow Industries. The area that we're reducing the landscaping on, if you've seen the site, it's covered by 3 sides. You can't see the north property line. And by allowing us to reduce that landscaping area, it allows our customer to keep more of his vehicles on the site and not have to store them at another location somewhere. If he has them on the site, he can sell more. The vehicles are very, most of the vehicles average between 27 and 33 feet long. So parking is crucial for big vehicles like that. And the front of it, like I said, the areas that we're reducing are behind the fences and in the back, and the property to the west, it's got a 25-foot tall tilt-up building built on the property line. You can't see anything from that direction. To the west, there's a self-storage facility that covers most of it. Like I said, most of the areas that we're trying to deviate from are on the north, and you can't see it, and it just would really help the business owner quite a bit. Thank you.
Question of the applicant? None? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Does anyone else want to speak in favor of the project? Anyone want to speak against the project? Okay, we'll close it to public testimony, open up to commission discussion. Anybody want to speak?
Well, I'll just say, I think, I'll support this. I think it makes perfect sense to, give up a little bit of foliage to be able to display these vehicles that are for sale, that are, quite expensive. And I think the more they sell, the better they do, and the better the city does with sales tax. So, I'll give up a little plants for that, in this case.
I'll agree with fellow commissioner. It will increase the sales tax to the city, so that's helpful and will help their business. So I'm in favor of it. We have a resolution number, please.
The resolution for the variance would be 17-5904.
I'll move to approve.
I have a first by Commissioner Redholz. I'll second the motion. We have roll call, please.
Commissioner Hing? Yes. Commissioner Jimenez?
Yes.
Commissioner Redholz?
Aye.
Chairman Holtz?
Aye, passes 4-0. Action is final unless appealed to the City Council within 10 days. Good luck, gentlemen. Okay, brings us to non-hearing items. Planning Commission authorized Planning Director's modification number 17-17, categorical exemption, applicant Lisa Hood, location 1000 and 1050 Lakes Drive, Lakes Office Building. Request for approval to add 3 compact parking spaces at the Lake Office parking lot. Do we need a staff report on this, or
Yes, your favorite planner will be presenting this
your
report.
favorite planner?
Yes, yes.
All right.
Yes, okay. The planning director will be presenting this. It's planning director's modification 1717 at 1000 and 1050 Lakes Drive, Lakes Office Building. This is a site plan, not the site plan, the vicinity map of the aerial. 2 buildings there with parking structures on each side and a surface parking lot between. Here we have the San Bernardino Freeway. So if you weren't aware, they have been expanding the San Bernardino Freeway for the last year or so. You may not have noticed. But they did take some properties, take some areas from some properties, this being one of them. And in doing that, they did make it impossible for some of the parking spaces to remain as they existed before. So it forced the property owner to redesign the property, try to maximize the parking spaces that were available. The proposal to redesign goes from the original number of parking spaces, which was 682 before construction started, and they're proposing now 645. So it's a loss of parking spaces, but there's really nothing that can be done about that because of the expansion of the freeway. To do that, they are preserving the row of compact spaces on the west side of that surface parking lot because it wasn't much of a taking on that side, so it stays, the dimension stays relevant. On the east side, there's not enough dimension to provide that 90-degree parking spaces, so they're proposing a row of parallel parking spaces. And in addition, just to try to maximize, they're adding 3 compact spaces, which is basically the reason it's before you, because the addition of compact spaces is under the authority of the Planning Commission to approve. So anybody adding even 1 compact space has to come before the Planning Commission. This is a site plan. It's a very big site, so it's a little hard to see, but I'll try to give you your bearings. These are the 2 buildings here. Between the 2 buildings, there's a grass area and a fountain. So if you can picture that. Right across from that, there's a landscape island that has some electrical equipment on it. So I'm going to use that as my reference. When I say west, that means these spaces. These spaces are staying in pretty much their same circumstance, which is a row of compact spaces. That's what it was before. That's what it will remain. On this side, there was another row of compact spaces that went really kind of all the way over to about Glendora. But that dimension now is too small, so they went from a 16-foot dimension now down. In some places, it's less than 4 or 5 feet. So between here and here, they're adding 10 parallel parking spaces. They'd be parallel to the wall. And before I go from this slide, it's really kind of hard to see, but you can sort of see this area here, this space here, and this space here. Those are the 3 added compact spaces. They'd be converting landscape planners to compact spaces. This is a section, and it may not be ultimately very clear what this is trying to show, but basically what we have here is before you had a parking space, that's long dimension was from here to here. This area has been shortened, and so now they're proposing it's from here to here. This is the drive aisle. Now they're proposing a parallel parking space, and right up against that landscape planner, in the middle, there's an 8-foot area, and they've agreed to landscape that. So in that area, you would have an 8-foot parking space with an 8-foot landscape planter behind it. As you go towards the east, as you go this direction, that narrows down. It tapers down until you can't have a parking space beyond this because there's just not enough space. So the parking spaces get closer and closer to the wall. As you get here, the landscaping gets smaller and smaller until there's a landscape island here on the end to protect the last car. So that's what's being proposed tonight. The applicant is responding to the expansion of the freeway in order to maximize parking due to the loss of parking spaces. Staff is recommending approval of additional compact parking spaces and revised layout of the parking facility. Conditions of approval are provided, including the requirement for a landscape plan for areas affected and the approval of a photometric plan. This is a categorical exemption from CEQA, and that concludes my staff report. We have the applicant here. If there's any questions I can answer, I'd be happy to do so.
Once this is done, will that take care of all the expansion of the freeway and all that in the parking lot?
The answer to that is yes. However, whoops, let me go back. However, if you've driven out there, when you drive down this aisle, you really can't tell when you leave this parking lot and the next parking lot.
Right.
So there is another parking lot over here that isn't owned by the same entity that does have a similar circumstance. And we haven't been approached by them about if there's a resolution.
Is that the parking lot that's behind the Edwards?
Parking structure.
Parking structure?
Correct, yeah.
Because I've never seen any cars in there at all. I don't know if that's because there's no tenants in the Lakes building, or it's just that there's a gluttony of parking spaces.
I'm not sure I can respond to that, but I agree that it does seem like that's not a very attractive place for people to park.
Right.
They'd rather park in the parking structure or on this parking spaces along Glendora Avenue or anywhere else that's closer. It seems to be the desperation parking.
Okay. But it should take care of all the future construction on the freeway then?
It should, at least for this lot, it will take
Okay.
care of that situation,
Okay.
yes.
Thank you.
And Caltrans still has some work to do. They're pretty much finished, but I don't think they've installed the landscaping there yet. So they're still finishing up some of the touches in that vicinity.
Okay. Thank you. Would the applicant like to come forward?
If you have any questions.
Okay, does anybody have any questions? We don't have any. Thank you, sir. Okay. So we'll close it and open up to commission discussion. Any commission discussion? None here, none here, none? Okay. Can we have the resolution number, please?
In this one second to get my bearings. There is not a resolution number. The conditions of approval are just attached to the staff report because it's a planning director's modification. So all we would need is a motion, a second, and a vote.
Okay. We have a motion?
Motion to approve?
Motion for.
I'll second.
We have a motion, a first and a second. Roll call, please.
Just to make sure the motion was by Commissioner Jimenez?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Commissioner Hing? Aye. Commissioner Jimenez?
Yes.
Commissioner Redholz?
Aye.
Chairman Holtz?
Aye. Passes 4-0. Okay. That takes us to continuation of oral communications. Does anyone want to speak on oral communication? Come on, Dave. No? Commission reports, comments, and miscellaneous items. Any comments? Commissioner Redholz.
Yeah, I just want to, this year I was able to attend all 6 of these summer concerts here at City Hall. And I just want to get it out there that I want to commend Nicole and the community services staff for doing an outstanding job. You know, they had the youth, I think members of the youth council out there, and a lot of people working. Mike Cressup from the community services department. They did a real good job of running the concerts this year. We had some very good bands performing. I think the public appreciated all of them. They did a good job. We had a DJ that was outstanding. He was an entertainer unto himself. He got out there and worked the crowd. He had the mic, you know, he was a singer and an entertainer. Got the crowd out there, got them all dancing, line dancing, and everybody had a good time. So it's nice to see the folks come out and enjoy activity in West Covina. So I want to commend them for a job well done, and that's about it.
Thank you. Anyone else? Commissioner Jimenez.
Jeff, just wanted to confirm, when is West Covina Day at the fair? Oh, okay.
It's the 21st, yes, September 21st, which is a Thursday.
Okay. Kids keep asking.
Commissioner Hain? No? No, I guess not. Okay. Planning Director's report.
Planning Director's report, we have the forthcoming, which we have items on September 12th, couple items there, and we also have some items coming up on the 26th. So both those meetings will have some bigger projects. I guess September is big project month for the Planning Commission. So, and then we have a project status report that provides you information on projects that have been approved over the last few years that haven't expired.
Commissioner Riddle.
I have a question on it. Just looking at a couple of these, in particular the construction of the Sikh this is approved almost 2 years ago, and it's in plan check submittal. Are they just, what's the status on it? Are they just sitting there? Or?
Commissioner Redholz, yeah, it's still sitting in the building department. They haven't pulled permits since they last made the request to extend the precise plan. So there just hasn't been any activity once. Right.
As long as it's still alive, then it is what it is until it either expires or they extend it or they complete it, right?
Correct.
Those are the three options. Okay, all right, thank you.
A week ago tonight, the City Council reviewed the code amendment for off-sale alcohol. If you remember, that came before you, I think, in June, and they adopted it as recommended. So they'll have a second reading. That'll start taking effect in about a month. Nothing else to report.
We are adjourned. You're not going to say, please. You do, you're going to be in big trouble. Who's this guy? Who's that guy?